They say the ocean is home, but why does my heart still feel so empty? If only I could have a family, a love that isn't bound to the waves. Is my dream too impossible?
Once upon a time, before bustling cities like Savannah, Georgia, or Charleston, South Carolina became symbols of African American history and culture, there was a hidden place deep in the Atlantic Ocean. A magical kingdom called Savannah Tide. This was not a place easily found. It was encased by shimmering coral reefs and endless swirling currents, a natural veil guarding the ocean's ancient secrets. Savannah Tide was a world humans could only dream of. There, the coral reefs were not just shelters for marine life, but radiant treasures reflecting light like precious gems. Schools of fish swam in streams, each one resembling a tiny crystal, weaving together waves of miraculous light. Blue, pink, and golden hues merged beneath the waves, making Savannah Tide appear as a sparkling paradise deep within the ocean. This kingdom was not only breathtaking, but also protected by a mysterious entity, Neoka, the river god. Neoka was not just the guardian of Savannah Tide, but the living spirit of the waters, the keeper of the ocean's deepest secrets. With the power to command the tides, Neoka ensured the kingdom remained safe from the perils of the outside world. Neoka, a being of great power and mystery, rarely appeared to the creatures of the sea unless absolutely necessary. When seen, Neoka resembled an infinite wave, with silver hair flowing like rushing currents and eyes so deep they held both majesty and compassion. Neoka could calm the fiercest storms or summon towering waves to protect the kingdom. But above all, Neoka was the listener of every soul in the ocean's depths. They say Neoka could feel every heartbeat within Savannah Tide, from the tiniest fish to the most stunning mermaids. And in the heart of this ocean, one particular soul always captured Neoka's attention: Mera. At the center of Savannah Tide, amidst radiant streams of light and magnificent coral gardens, lived a beautiful mermaid named Mera. Mera was unlike anyone else in the kingdom. She was not only celebrated for her graceful beauty, but also for her kind heart. Small sea creatures often sought Mera for advice or comfort, and she always welcomed them with gentleness and warmth. Mera's appearance was a masterpiece of nature. Her skin was smooth as pearl, her long black hair gleamed like moonlight over calm waters, and the sapphire-colored scales on her body shimmered like gemstones crafted by the ocean's own hands. When Mera swam, the light reflecting off her scales left a faint mystical trail in the water, compelling every creature to turn and watch. But within Mera, amidst all the beauty and admiration she received, was an unshakable loneliness. Though beloved by all, Mera felt a void she could not fill. In her heart burned a yearning, the dream of having a family of her own. Mera often swam to the waters near the surface, where she could catch a distant glimpse of Savannah's shores. In the radiant glow of the setting sun, she saw humans on the beach, families gathered together, children running and laughing, and she couldn't stop herself from wondering, could I ever know such happiness? Many nights, Mera lay upon a coral reef, gazing at the sky through the water's surface, whispering to herself, if only I could hold children of my own, if only I could teach them about the beauty of the ocean, the wonders hidden beneath these waves. But how could a mermaid like Mera make such a dream come true? The kingdom of Savannah Tide was not a place for such dreams. Other mermaids warned Mera that her desires were foolish. The ocean is where we belong, and nothing can change that, they said. But Mera could not abandon hope. Mera was different, not only for her beauty or her kindness, but also for her curiosity about the world beyond. While other mermaids were content with their lives in the sea, Mera was fascinated by stories of humans. She wanted to know how they lived, how they loved, and how they protected their families. Yet Mera understood that the boundary between the human world and the ocean was insurmountable. Still, Mera did not give up. She often dreamed of seeking out Neoka, the only one who could help her achieve the impossible. but she also knew Neoka was a stern guardian, always prioritizing the balance of the ocean. Was Mera's dream too selfish? Could she dare to ask for something no one else had ever asked for? One night, as Mera swam silently among the coral reefs, a gentle wave brushed against her, carrying with it a soft whisper, like a message. Trust your heart, Mera. True dreams always find a way to come true. That whisper didn't just reignite Mera's faith, but felt like a sign that the ocean was listening to her dreams. Was it a message from Neoka? Mera wasn't sure, but she sensed that something awaited her, a journey that would change her life forever. Mera's story is not just about a lonely mermaid. It is a tale of courage. The courage to pursue a dream that seems impossible. In the vast ocean depths, Mera was about to embark on a new journey, one not only to find a family, but to discover herself. Would Neoka respond to Mera's plea? And if so, what challenges would Mera face to make her dream a reality? Mera's journey was just beginning, and something extraordinary awaited her. Every day, as the gentle rays of dawn stretched across the waters of Savannah, Mera, the beautiful mermaid of the Savannah Tide kingdom, would swim close to the surface. From a tranquil spot, where the cool blue of the ocean blended with the golden warmth of the sky, she quietly observed the human world from afar. On Savannah's shore, a familiar yet captivating scene unfolded before Mera's eyes. Families gathered under palm trees, young couples exchanging tender glances. And, most mesmerizing of all, children running and laughing joyfully on the sandy beach. Their laughter, faint as it was through the water, held a strange power. It echoed in Mera's heart, awakening within her a deep longing. Mera watched silently as the children built sandcastles, held their parents' hands, and gazed with wide, bright eyes as they listened to stories told by the fire. And she couldn't help but wonder, what would it feel like to hold a child in my arms? Could I teach them about the beauty of the ocean and the wonders hidden within its depths? She couldn't stop these thoughts from filling her mind. Mera was a part of the ocean, a mysterious, deep and mesmerizing world, but also an isolated one. Even though Savannah Tide was a place of radiant light and beauty, Mera felt an emptiness she couldn't fill. A family. That was what Mera yearned for more than anything else. When the sun set, Mera often returned to the ocean's depths, where the soft glow of the coral reefs illuminated her home. But on long nights, amidst the whispers of the currents, she would lie upon a coral ledge, gazing at the sky through the water. She watched the light from the lighthouses along Savannah's coast, their glow a constant reminder that the human world was always near, and yet impossibly far away. Am I selfish to dream of something that doesn't belong to my world? Mera asked herself. The ocean was her home, her place of belonging, yet the loneliness in her heart grew with each passing day. The marine creatures who adored Mera couldn't understand the emptiness she felt. To them, she was a beautiful, perfect mermaid. But within Mera was a repressed dream, one she feared she would never realize. Some days, Mera felt drawn to the surface as if an invisible force was calling her. She loved watching the sunset, that moment when the sky burst into shades of orange and pink, reflecting on the ocean like a shimmering mirror. Mera often spent hours quietly gazing at the horizon, where small boats glided by, carrying the hopes and dreams of humans. She observed fathers carrying their children on their shoulders, mothers gently wiping their children's faces after a day of play. And in those moments, Mera dreamed she could be a part of that world, that she could create a family, not just to banish her loneliness, but to share joy and pass on her knowledge of the ocean. If only I could teach a child about the beauty and secrets of the ocean, Mera thought, her eyes glistening as she looked toward the shore. Surely life would feel more meaningful. But even as Mera dreamed of a family, she couldn't ignore her fears. The ocean had been her home all her life, a place she knew intimately, every hidden corner, every current. Could a mermaid ever be a mother? Could a child understand and love a world as foreign as the ocean's depths? where there was no warm sunlight or soft sands. Every time Mera thought of this, her heart wavered between hope and fear. She knew the river god Neoka could grant her a miracle, but what price would she have to pay? Could her dream survive in the fragile balance of this ocean world? One night, as Mera sat on a high coral ledge, she felt a gentle wave brush against her feet. In that soft sound, Mera thought she heard a whisper. "Do not fear your dreams, Mera. Every dream has a way to come true if your heart truly desires it." That whisper was not a dream. It was part of the ocean itself, a message from its depths, as though Neoka had heard her silent pleas. Mera felt a new surge of energy fill her heart. For the first time in years, she no longer felt alone. She knew a new journey awaited her, one that would change her life forever. In the days that followed, Mera grew bolder. She swam into the ocean's strongest currents, seeking signs and listening to the voices of the waters. Within her burned an unshakable determination. She would find a way to make her dream a reality. But this journey would not be easy. Mera knew that to achieve her dream, she would have to face challenges she could never have imagined. And above all, she would have to place her trust in herself, in her kind heart, and her unwavering will. One day, as the gentle sunlight filtered through the clear blue waters, Mera was swimming leisurely through a tranquil stretch of sea near a sunken shipwreck. The old vessel lay there, a silent reminder of the secrets the ocean kept hidden, its hull covered in seaweed and glittering shells. Mera loved places like this, where time seemed to stand still and the ocean held tightly to forgotten stories. But today, something felt different. Amidst the stillness, she heard a faint sound. A desperate cry for help echoing through the water. Startled, Mera focused her senses, then quickly swam toward the sound. As she drew near, she discovered a young man trapped beneath a large wooden beam from the ship. He struggled against the rushing currents, his eyes filled with fear and despair. Without hesitation, Mera surged forward like a streak of light cutting through the ocean depths. Using the strength of her arms and her powerful tail, she tried to lift the heavy beam. Seaweed clung to the wood, making it slippery, but Mera didn't give up. With every ounce of her strength, she pushed the beam aside, creating a gap for the young man to escape. Exhausted and gasping for air, the man looked up at Mera in astonishment. The light reflecting off her shimmering scales made her appear as a mythical being straight out of legend. He whispered, his voice weak but full of awe. "Who are you?" Mera smiled gently, her eyes glowing with warmth. "I am a friend from the ocean. Are you all right?" she asked, her voice as soft as the waves lapping the shore. The man blinked as though trying to confirm that what he saw wasn't just a dream. "I thought I wouldn't make it out of here. Thank you, friend from the ocean." The man introduced himself as Eli, a young fisherman from Charleston. He explained how he had ventured out to sea to fish, but encountered a powerful whirlpool that damaged his boat, causing it to sink to the ocean floor. Eli had managed to cling to part of the wreckage, but became trapped under the heavy beam. Mera listened intently to Eli's story. She felt the sincerity in his voice and a warmth growing in her heart. It wasn't the first time she had seen a human, but it was the first time she felt a profound connection with someone from the world above. In the days that followed, Eli couldn't stop thinking about Mera, the magical friend who had saved him. He returned to the waters near the shipwreck every afternoon, bringing a small boat with him in hopes of seeing the mysterious mermaid again. And Mera, drawn by both curiosity and gratitude for Eli, often rose from the water to talk with him. Afternoons at the shipwreck became a time they both looked forward to. Eli shared stories of life on land with Mera, bustling markets in Charleston, where the scent of fresh seafood filled the air and vendors called out to passers-by. Ancient lighthouses standing tall along the Georgia coast, like sentinels guiding ships through the darkness of night. Mera listened with fascination. To her, Eli's world sounded like a colourful fairy tale, so unlike the ocean depths she knew. In return, Mera told Eli about Neoka, the river god who protected Savannah Tide and commanded the tides. She spoke of the wondrous creatures of the sea, glowing jellyfish that lit up the night, tiny but resilient seahorses, and ancient sea turtles carrying centuries of stories. As the sun dipped below the horizon and its golden light faded over the water, the two often sat in silence, letting the gentle waves provide a soothing melody. Eli began to realize that Mera was not just a beautiful mermaid. She had a rare allure, a blend of ethereal beauty and a soul full of depth. Meanwhile, Mera began to see that Eli was unlike the humans she had heard about. He wasn't just curious about the ocean, he was passionate about life, someone who appreciated the beauty and the stories that every wave carried. One afternoon, as the sun painted the sky in golden hues and its light danced brilliantly on the water, Eli turned to Mera and said, "You know, I never imagined the ocean could hold so many wonders. If I could, I'd love to see more of your world." Mera smiled, but in her eyes was a flicker of worry. She knew that no matter how close they felt, there remained an unbridgeable divide between them, a mermaid and a human. Yet a thought crossed Mera's mind. Could Eli be the key to understanding the world above? They didn't yet know that this bond would not only change their lives, but also create ripples in the vast depths of the ocean. A new story was beginning, one of connection between two worlds that were never meant to meet. That evening, as the sun sank towards the horizon, its golden-orange light danced upon the water, creating shimmering patterns on the gentle waves. Mera and Eli sat together at the edge of the lagoon, where the sea met the land in a soft, seamless embrace. The air was still, with only the faint sound of waves lapping against the shore, as though mirroring the quiet thoughts swirling in their minds. Mera glanced at Eli, her eyes glowing like twin pearls, though deep within them lay a feeling she had never spoken aloud. She had spent many days talking with Eli, learning about life on land and sharing with him the mystical stories of the ocean. But today, something compelled her to reveal a secret buried deep within her heart. "Eli," Mera said softly, her voice as gentle as the whisper of the waves. "I have a dream." Eli turned to her, his eyes filled with focus, as though he wanted to catch every word she was about to say. Mera took a deep breath, steadying herself, and then looked into his eyes. "I want to have a family," she said, her voice dissolving into the quiet air, soft yet resolute. "I want to hold a child in my arms. I want to teach them about the ocean, about the wonders it holds. But—" Mera hesitated, her eyes flickering with uncertainty. "I don't know if that could ever become real." Eli was silent, but only for a moment. He took Mera's hand in his touch warm and steady. Eli's eyes that had seen fierce storms and endured long, grueling days at sea, were now filled with understanding. "Mera," Eli said, his voice full of sincerity, "if that's what you dream of, then we'll find a way. No matter how hard it is, I'll be by your side." Mera gazed into Eli's eyes, feeling a warmth spread through her. His words weren't just a promise of friendship, they were a vow, born from a genuine heart. Yet Mera knew her dream wouldn't come easily. "Eli," Mera began, her voice lowering, "you don't understand. I belong to the ocean, and you belong to the land. How can these two worlds ever come together? How can my dream, a dream of family, ever come true when we are not of the same place?" Eli shook his head, holding her hand even tighter. "You're right. We come from two different worlds, but that doesn't mean we can't find a way. Mera, you have a stronger heart than anyone I've ever known. And if you dream of this, I believe the ocean, or any force for that matter, cannot stop you." Eli's words brought an involuntary smile to Mera's lips, a tender smile filled with profound gratitude. For a moment, she felt as though her dream, a dream she once thought impossible, could actually come true. "Eli," she said, her voice soft but firm, "if you're willing to walk this path with me, I won't give up, but there's something I must do before we begin this journey." "What is it?" Eli asked, curiosity lighting up his eyes. Mera turned toward the ocean, where the last light of day painted vibrant colors across the water's surface. "I need guidance from Neoka," she said, her voice quiet yet clear. "The river god who protects Savannah Tide is the only one who can give me the answers I seek." Eli nodded. "If that's what you need to do, I'll wait here for you. Mera, I don't know who Neoka is, but if they can help us, I'll trust them, just as I trust you." Mera said nothing more, but inside a storm of emotions swirled. She knew that meeting Neoka would not be easy. The god was a powerful yet enigmatic being, and any gift Neoka bestowed would undoubtedly come with a heavy price. Did she have the courage to face such a trial? But when Mera looked into Eli's eyes filled with trust and determination, she felt a newfound strength rising within her. Turning back to the ocean, Mera gave Eli one last glance before diving into the deep waters below. Her heart burned with resolve to find Neoka, seek the god's blessing, and gain the answers she so desperately sought. As she swam away, Eli stood at the water's edge, his gaze fixed on her fading silhouette. He knew that this journey wasn't just Mera's, but his as well. A journey to bridge the divide between two worlds, to make a dream that seemed impossible come true. The sun's final rays disappeared beneath the horizon, leaving behind a quiet, starlit night. But in the hearts of Mera and Eli, a new light had begun to shine. A light of hope, courage, and a dream they were both willing to risk everything to achieve. Would Neoka answer Mera's plea? Could a mermaid and a fisherman overcome the limits of their two worlds to build the family they longed for? Only time and unwavering determination would tell. But one thing was certain. They had chosen to embark on this journey together. That night, the ocean was unnaturally still, as though it were holding its breath, waiting for something momentous to happen. Mera, her mind resolute, swam through the deep waters where sunlight could not reach. Ahead of her lay a difficult journey, a path to the secret lagoon of Neoka, the river god, where her prayers might be answered. Neoka's lagoon was in a part of the ocean few could reach. It was guarded by powerful whirlpools, coral reefs sharp as blades, and the deadly silence of the deep sea. But Mera, with unyielding determination and a heart full of yearning, pressed on, each stroke of her tail slicing through the cold, dark waters. After a long journey, Mera finally saw it, the secret lagoon. The water here was unlike anything else. It glowed with a brilliant, ethereal blue, as though illuminated by a divine energy. Each gentle ripple carried an otherworldly power, making Mera feel the strong presence of Neoka. As Mera drew closer, a dazzling light burst from the center of the lagoon, and then Neoka appeared. The god's form was both majestic and mysterious, like a river flowing endlessly, fused with the grandeur of the ocean itself. Neoka's body shimmered like liquid silver, and their deep, infinite eyes reflected an entire universe of ancient secrets. "Mera," Neoka spoke, their voice echoing through the lagoon, powerful, yet laced with gentleness. "You have traveled a long way to reach me. I can sense the dream that dwells within your heart. Tell me, what brings you here?" Mera lifted her head, her eyes filled with determination. "Oh, great Neoka, I have come seeking your help. I want a family. I want to hold children in my arms, teach them about the ocean, and protect this world." Neoka was silent for a moment, their deep eyes piercing into Mera's soul, as though understanding everything she hadn't said. Finally, Neoka tilted their head slightly and smiled, though the smile carried an air of grave significance. "You wish for a family, Mera?" Neoka's voice rose like waves crashing against a rocky shore, commanding and firm. "Yes, great Neoka. It is my greatest desire," Mera replied, her voice unwavering. Neoka nodded, but their gaze turned serious. "Mera, I can grant you what you wish for, but remember my gift always comes with trials. A family is a great blessing, but it is also a heavy burden. You will have what you desire, but you must be ready to face pain, sacrifice, and responsibility." Mera did not hesitate. She knew her dream was not born from whimsy, but from the deepest part of her heart. "I am ready," she answered, her voice steady yet filled with reverence. Neoka smiled once more, and this time, the smile was imbued with understanding. "Then receive my blessing." Neoka raised their hand, and a brilliant blue light enveloped Mera. The light was both warm and powerful, spreading throughout the lagoon and making every drop of water shimmer like crystal. Mera felt a new energy coursing through her body, as though the ocean itself was gifting her a part of its strength. "You will have a great family, Mera," Neoka declared, their voice resonating like a symphony of waves.
"Your children will be the jewels of the ocean. But remember, with great love comes great responsibility. You must teach them to be strong, for the ocean is not always kind. And remember, not all dreams come without a price."
Mera bowed her head, her heart brimming with gratitude. "I understand, great Neoka. I will do everything to protect the family I will have." Neoka nodded in approval, then gradually disappeared, leaving Mera alone in the now quiet lagoon. She felt a shift within herself, not just the newfound strength Neoka had bestowed upon her, but the realization that she was truly ready for the journey ahead. As Mera swam away from the lagoon, her scales shimmered brighter than ever before. She felt a strange new sensation, a life beginning to grow within her. With a heart full of hope and determination, Mera knew this journey would not be easy. But she also knew it would be worth every challenge if it meant realizing her greatest dream. From that moment on, Mera was no longer just a solitary mermaid. She would become a mother, a guide, and a protector for the lives she would cherish. With Neoka's blessing, Mera was ready to begin a new chapter, one not only of love but also of sacrifice, courage, and the strength to overcome any trial. Would Mera be able to face the challenges Neoka had foreseen? Could she protect her children from the unforeseen dangers of the ocean? The answers would be written by Mera herself, a mermaid mother with a strong heart and boundless love. When Mera returned from Neoka's secret lagoon, she carried with her not only the god's blessing, but also a burning hope in her heart. Not long after, she gave birth to her first child, a baby boy, whom she named Noah. Noah was unlike any child Mera had ever known. From the very beginning, he displayed an insatiable curiosity about the world around him. He loved exploring colourful coral reefs, playing with schools of tiny fish, and swimming far from home to uncover hidden corners of the ocean. His bright eyes sparkled with excitement, and every day he brought back new stories of a secret cave, a glowing school of fish, or a rushing current he had dared to navigate. Mera was captivated by the joys of motherhood. She spent every moment caring for Noah, teaching him about the beauty and mysteries of the ocean. She told him stories about Neoka, about ancient creatures only the bravest dared to encounter. Noah listened with wide, eager eyes, occasionally interrupting with innocent yet clever questions that made Mera smile with pride. But time didn't stand still. The seasons passed like swift currents, and Mera gave birth to more children, one after another. Her underwater home became a lively haven, filled with the laughter of children, the sound of their chattering voices, their calls for mama, and their playful giggles echoed through the water like a symphony of love. Mera's heart swelled with happiness, but she also began to realize that with each new child came an even greater sense of responsibility. Being the mother of an energetic child like Noah was already a challenge. But as her other children grew, each with their own personality and needs, Mera began to feel the weight of responsibility pressing heavily on her shoulders. At first, she could easily keep up with Noah on his adventures, but as her family grew, Mera found it increasingly difficult to manage everything. Noah started swimming farther, exploring dangerous depths, and sometimes bringing along his younger siblings. Mera often wondered if he understood the risks the ocean held. And then there were the storms, relentless threats that never ceased. Whenever the sky darkened suddenly and the waters began to churn violently, Mera's heart tightened with fear. She knew the ocean was not only beautiful but also perilous, with powerful currents that could sweep anything away, predators lurking in the shadows, and icy depths where no light could reach. One night, as Mera rocked her youngest child to sleep, Noah returned home after a long day of exploration. His face was lit with excitement, though a few scratches marked his arms and tail. Mera rushed to his side, concern etched across her face. "Noah, what happened?" she asked. The boy grinned innocently, as though there was nothing to worry about. "I saw a giant glowing jellyfish, Mama. It was so beautiful, but I swam a little too close and brushed against its tentacles." Mera sighed, a mix of relief and worry washing over her. She knew Noah didn't deliberately put himself in danger, but he was too curious, too brave, or perhaps too naive to fully understand the hazards of the ocean. As the days passed, Mera's underwater home grew even more vibrant. Each of her children brought unique joys and challenges. One child loved quietly watching schools of fish, while another could never sit still, always trying to swim out of Mera's sight. Though Mera loved each of her children with all her heart, she couldn't deny that being a mother was no easy task. Every time a storm rolled in, she used all her strength to keep her children close, ensuring they weren't swept away by the ferocious waves. Each time one of them faced danger, Mera felt as though her heart was being torn apart. Over time, Mera began to understand that her dream of a large family filled with laughter brought not only immense joy, but also profound lessons in sacrifice. Great love, she realized, always came with great responsibility. She couldn't protect her children from every danger, nor could she watch over them at all times. But what she could do was teach them how to protect themselves, how to understand and respect the ocean, the world they called home. Mera decided that instead of constantly trying to shield her children, she would focus on equipping them with the skills they needed to navigate life. She started telling them more about the ocean's hidden dangers, teaching them how to recognize treacherous currents and find safe shelters during storms. Though Mera's life was filled with challenges, she never forgot that her family was a miracle, a precious gift from Neoka. Each of her children, from Noah to the youngest, carried within them a part of the ocean, a part of Mera, and a part of the love she had poured into them. And despite the trials, Mera knew she was never alone. She had her children by her side, the little beings she loved more than anything. With that strength, Mera was ready to face whatever the ocean placed before her. The ocean darkened as though it was preparing to unleash its fury. Winds howled across the surface, whipping up towering waves that crashed against coral reefs and consumed everything in chaos. The storm arrived without warning, like a predator, sudden and ferocious, plunging all of Savannah Tide into turmoil. Mera, busy tending to her children in their coral home, recognized the danger from the first waves. She quickly gathered her children, trying to keep them safe by her side. But amidst the chaos, a faint cry pierced the noise, slicing through the turmoil like a blade. "Mother, help me!" Mera turned, her eyes filled with terror. Layla, her youngest daughter, had been swept away. The powerful waves dragged the small child into treacherous waters, where raging currents threatened to devour everything in their path. Without hesitation, Mera darted out of the shelter. She cut through the water with all the strength she possessed, battling against the relentless currents that pushed her back. Waves pummeled her body, their icy cold stinging like blades against her skin. But Mera didn't care. One thought consumed her mind. She had to save Layla. "Layla!" Mera shouted, but her voice was swallowed by the storm. She could only glimpse the small figure of her daughter, bobbing weakly amid the towering waves. Mera pushed harder against the currents, exhaustion creeping over her, but she refused to stop. Every passing second was a matter of life and death, and she couldn't bear to lose her precious daughter. Layla, amidst the raging waves, struggled feebly. Her wide eyes glistened with fear, yet they searched desperately for the familiar figure of her mother. "Mother!" Layla's voice cracked, her cry fading into the water with each crashing wave. Mera felt her heart shatter. Fear and despair engulfed her. She had promised to protect her children, But now the very ocean she loved was trying to steal away what was most precious to her. I can't lose her, Mera thought, her tears blending with the freezing water around her. In her moment of greatest weakness, Mera looked up toward the heavens and called out, "Neoka, great God, please help me. Don't let me lose Layla." Amid the storm's raging fury, a sudden radiant blue light burst forth, illuminating the waters. Mera looked up and saw Neoka appear, majestic and commanding, like the ocean itself brought to life. The violent waves grew calm, and the raging currents softened, as though the entire ocean bowed to the god's presence. "Mera," Neoka said, their voice echoing like wind sweeping through the coral reefs, strong yet gentle. "You have called upon me in your moment of despair. You plead for me to save your daughter. But you must understand, being a mother is not just about shielding your children from danger." Exhausted and grief-stricken, Mera gazed up at the god. "Please save my daughter. Layla is too young to face this storm. I can't lose her." Neoka looked deep into Mera's eyes and saw not only her fear but also the boundless love of a mother. The god spoke softly.
"You cannot protect your children forever, Mera. You must teach them how to face the world themselves. The ocean is not always kind, and you will not always be there to shield them. Remember, true love is not just keeping them close, but giving them the strength to stand on their own."
The waters seemed to obey Neoka's command. They grew gentle, and in the shimmering currents, Mera saw Layla, small but still trying to swim toward her mother. "Layla, listen to me, my love," Mera called, her voice no longer trembling but filled with determination. "Stay calm and swim toward my voice." With every ounce of her tiny strength, Layla did as her mother instructed. She fought her way through the remaining currents and finally reached Mera, who wrapped her tightly in her warm embrace. Mera held her daughter close, tears streaming down her face. Layla, her voice soft, whispered, "Mother, I knew you would come for me." Mera smiled, but deep within, Neoka's words continued to echo. She realized that she couldn't always protect her children from every danger, but she could teach them to be strong, to face the great waves of life with courage. When the storm passed and the ocean returned to peace, Mera sat with her children by a coral reef. She told them the story of Neoka and the lesson she had just learned. She explained that although the ocean could be dangerous, it also taught them to be resilient and brave. From that day forward, Mera was not just a mother who shielded her children from harm. She became their teacher, showing them how to swim through fierce currents, find safe shelters during storms, and, most importantly, face life with courage. The story of Mera and Layla spread throughout the ocean, becoming a legend of love and bravery. Sea creatures looked up to Mera as a symbol of great love, not just the love that protects, but the love that empowers children to explore the world on their own. After her conversation with Neoka, Mera realized that love was not only about protection but also about empowerment. She began to change the way she raised her children, no longer merely shielding them from danger but teaching them how to face the vast world of the ocean. Mera became not just a mother, but also a teacher, a guide. From that day on, Mera devoted more time to teaching her children about the ocean, not only its mystical beauty but also its hidden perils. She took them to fast-moving currents and showed them how to recognize dangerous flows. She taught them how to find safe shelters during storms, how to use coral reefs as shields, and how to band together to overcome challenges. Layla, her youngest daughter, once timid and fearful, became a living testament to Mera's lessons. With her mother's patience and love, Layla learned to swim through the strongest waves. At first, she remained hesitant, often glancing back at Mera for reassurance whenever she struggled. But Mera stood at a distance, encouraging and urging her on. "You can do it, Layla. Believe in yourself." Those words of encouragement, coupled with careful guidance, helped Layla grow more confident. One day, When a small storm unexpectedly swept through, Layla didn't hide behind her mother. Instead, she swam through the churning waters, using everything she had learned to return to her family safely. Mera, watching from afar, couldn't help but shed tears. This time, not of worry, but of pride. "You did it," Mera whispered, her eyes glowing with joy. As time passed, Mera's children grew up. Each of them carried a part of their mother within them, her courage, her curiosity, and her love for the ocean. One day, Noah, Mera's eldest, approached her with a gleam in his eyes that reminded her of his childhood. "Mother," he said, his voice tinged with both excitement and seriousness, "I want to explore farther waters. I've heard about the giant kelp forests off the coast of California and strange creatures in the deep waters off Florida. I want to discover them." Mera smiled, though her heart ached slightly. She had long prepared for this moment, the moment her children would leave to explore the world. But now that it had arrived, she couldn't deny the pang of sadness in her chest. "If that is your dream, Noah," Mera said gently but firmly, "then take with you all that I've taught you. Remember, wherever you go, I will always be here, and my love will always be with you." Noah wasn't the only one who wanted to leave. One by one, Mera's children came to her, asking permission to explore distant seas. Each time she bid one of them farewell, it felt as though a part of her heart was leaving, yet she was filled with pride. Her children were not just creatures of the ocean, they became ambassadors of love and courage. Noah ventured to the kelp forests of the western coast. Layla, with her newfound strength, swam through rushing currents to the Caribbean, where she helped small creatures find safe havens. Other children journeyed to the icy waters of the North Atlantic, the vibrant coral reefs of Australia, and even the darkest depths of the ocean. Everywhere they went, Mera's children carried her lessons: resilience, unity, and unconditional love. They shared stories of their mother, the mermaid, who taught them not only how to swim through currents, but also how to face the great waves of life. The story of Mera and her family spread quickly across the ocean. Strange sea creatures began recounting the legend of the mermaid with a strong heart, who raised an extraordinary family in the vastness of the sea. Not only beneath the waves, but even on shore, Mera's story was told by the fishermen along the Savannah coast. As they gazed out over the ocean, parents would often tell their children, "Out there beneath the great waves is the legend of Mera the mermaid. She is not just a symbol of love, but also a testament to courage and the strength to overcome any hardship." Years passed, and Mera remained in Savannah Tide, where every wave and coral reef held the beautiful memories of her family. Her underwater home was no longer filled with the cheerful laughter of children, but Mera never felt completely alone. Sometimes she would hear stories carried by distant currents, stories told by her children, who had now become strong and independent creatures, exploring the world in their own ways. Mera often sat by her favorite coral reef, quietly listening to the sounds of the waves. Each ripple, each gentle sound, seemed to carry a message from her children. Though her heart occasionally ached with longing, it was interwoven with boundless pride. She knew she had given her children the most important gifts: confidence, courage, and unconditional love. The story of Mera was not just the journey of a mother, but a profound lesson in love, sacrifice, and the power of faith. From shielding her children in her embrace to letting them face the ocean's challenges on their own, Mera had proven that true love lies in giving strength to those we love, allowing them to grow and stand firm against life's storms. In Savannah Tide, the legend of Mera became a tale passed down from generation to generation, not only among sea creatures, but also echoing onto the shores. The people of Savannah would recount her story, treating it as a symbol of courage and everlasting love. One night, Mera sat quietly atop a coral rock, the moonlight casting a silver veil over the water. She gazed upward, as though whispering to the ocean, "Do they still remember me? My children, Where are they now in this vast, wide world? The ocean breeze gently swept past, carrying a faint, mysterious sound, like a soft reply. They will always carry your love in their hearts. Mera smiled faintly, her eyes glimmering with hope. She knew that one day her children would return, bringing with them new stories to tell, new lessons to share. But has Mera's story truly ended? In the depths of the vast ocean, she continues to wait, her eyes shining with hope, her heart ever open to life's surprises. Perhaps one day, Mera's children will come home, bearing tales from distant waters. Or perhaps a new figure will enter her life, sparking a new journey, a new legend. Mera's story now belongs to the ocean and to each of us, those who have listened and drawn inspiration from her. What do you think? How will Mera's story continue? Share your thoughts in the comments and let us know if you resonate with this message and wish to see part 2 of her tale. Don't forget to like and subscribe to African Tales Best. If you are African American, share this story with your friends, family, and loved ones in the United States to preserve this rich cultural and folkloric history.